It's like a long-standing joke in my family that I have a obscene amount of energy.
I felt like I could go run a half marathon. Are you feeling like your energy tank is on empty, or maybe it's fluctuating throughout the day and you find yourself 2 p.m. crashing, you grab the coffee, you grab the Coke, and it's just not working for you? Well, today Robin and I are going to talk about the solution, the easy, delicious solution to that energy deficit. Whole food, plant-based. And I'm going to turn it over to Robin, our nutrition guru, to get into what that actually means.
So something super fun about January, New Year, all those good things is sort of thinking about this whole reset. How do I get energized for the year, especially coming off of the year that we just had, any previous year, really. So the differences between somebody who says they eat vegan versus plant-based versus whole food plant-based is sort of in the minutia of it. A person who eats vegan foods kind of simply means they just don't eat things that have animal products in them. Things that fall into that category don't necessarily have to be healthy. If you're eating plant-based, you are moving more towards a healthier food choice. But again, it isn't 100% whole foods plant-based. So things that can be considered plant-based could be crackers, some cookies. A lot of your meat alternatives would be considered plant-based. So they're still processed. They still have some things added to them. They're not necessarily something that just grows naturally in the world, which walks us right down to whole foods plant-based. So some great examples of whole food plant-based would be this avocado. And the reason this is considered whole foods plant-based is because this is it. There's no label. It grows naturally just like this. No added ingredients. It doesn't have to be stored anywhere special. It's just able to be eaten as it is. And if you get really lucky and you get a good one, you usually post a picture about it and share it on your social media. But the perks of the whole food plant-based way of eating is there's no labels. You don't have to worry about counting your calories and double checking ingredients in it because they just are what they are.
These foods are what we're meant to eat.
Mm-hmm.
That's what we're designed to eat, are things that grow out of the ground that are colorful and beautiful. That's why our eyes can see so many colors and why we've got these flat molars and long digestive tracts to break down these fiberful foods. And the easy shortcut to it too for me is this whole food plant-based is the fiber content. And that's why something like peanuts or even peanut butter that's just ground peanuts would be considered a whole food plant-based product. But once you start moving into that, like that Smucker's Goober peanut butter and jelly that's got tons of high fructose corn syrup and lots of processed food, it wouldn't be considered whole food plant-based.
If it's basically white anything, white bread, white flour, white sugar, you should look at that as being minimally nutritionally beneficial, if at all, because it's basically just been stripped of all its nutritional value. It has probably no fiber in it. So a really good alternative for some of your noodles, I found this at Whole Foods. So these are mung bean noodles, and the ingredients, organic mung bean flour. So of course that means it's processed because mung bean flour does not just grow. You have to take the bean and process it into flour. So there is a process involved. However, no other added ingredients, no added preservatives, no added oil. So this would be a really good plant-based product to include in your meals. If you wanted to eat mung beans naturally, that would be a whole food plant-based product.
Here's my mung beans. I have a mung bean curry recipe. It's one of my favorites. It only has about 5 ingredients in it. And that's another thing, as Robin and I were talking about whole food plant-based and the huge energy boost you get from eating in this very natural, minimally processed way, is how simple it is. With the brown rice and the potatoes and all of the whole food grains and beans that you can incorporate, you can make the most delicious meal in just 4, 5, 6 ingredients. Mm-hmm. And you can jazz it up if you want with any kind of spice, but that's another thing that makes your energy level go up, I think, is just you don't have that mental load of all that stuff in your pantry and those recipes where it's like got 45 different kinds of spices and things. It just makes your whole life more simple and clears out all this room for what you really want to do with all that energy.
Along with that, though, comes a bit of a flavor palette change. So if you've been eating, a certain way for a while, usually the standard American diet way. So if you're eating a lot of salt, sugar, fat foods, You might not like the taste of broccoli or carrots or cauliflower if that's not something you've had a lot of in the last couple years. So you have to give yourself some grace and give yourself a minute to relearn these flavors. According to the research, you have to eat something 7 times to truly appreciate the flavor of it. I don't think that's true with pizza. I think that was like a love at first bite type of thing, but broccoli 7 times. So you have to reset your taste buds to learn these new flavors. And at first you might not like it, and I understand that, but it's definitely worth doing. Put yourself up for a challenge, put a piece of paper up in your fridge with 7 squares on it, and every day have a vegetable that maybe you haven't had in a while and see how you feel by the end of the week. You might learn to love your red peppers.
A couple of my favorite whole food plant-based products. I always have cans of coconut milk and tahini in my pantry, and tahini is just ground up sesame seeds. So again, there's a little bit of a process going on with some of these, but they aren't being stripped of their fibers. Let's say you're trying to get used to broccoli or a vegetable you're not used to. A great way to make that transition, if you drizzle a little bit of tahini on there with some seasonings like garlic powder, I know you and I love, Robin, and roast those up. And then coconut milk is something you can use savory or sweet. And of course, if you're doing a Thai curry, I have a scallop potato recipe that uses that. So that is technically whole food plant-based. If you skip the butter, I use Earth Balance. So it's really amazing what you can do with some of these whole food plant-based products. And again, keeping it really simple. A lot of these recipes I'm talking about are still 3, 4, 5 ingredients.
So if you haven't been eating vegetables and you're not sure even what to do in terms of cooking them, a lot of people will saute their vegetables or roast them in a lot of oil. And if you're eating whole foods plant-based, you're going to actually eliminate oil. This sort of comes up a lot as a question as to why. And really the easiest answer is it's not good for you. It's a very processed, high fat food. And all it does is add calories, and it's sort of unnecessary. So we're going to show you a really easy way to saute vegetables using water. You could also use vegetable broth if you want to have a little bit of that flavor in there. They won't stick to the pan. They're still going to be just as crunchy and crisp as if you were roasting them or sauteing them in your oil. It's also way cheaper because water. And I find them to be better that way. You get more of the vegetable flavor when you do that. They're not sort of like coated in that shiny, I don't know, covering or whatever the oil would be, sort of like smothering the flavor, whereas the water just sort of brings it out. So I haven't used oil in years. I went to a conference and Dr. Furman gave this great presentation and oil was mentioned in there. And it was like this light bulb went off in my head where I was like, wow, I feel like I was using a lot of oil just for sauteing and things like that, and realizing it's just not necessary. So no oil. If you want to take that challenge, just use whatever oil you have left and then don't buy another bottle and see how it goes. Oil also in baking easily swapped out for applesauce. That's been like my go-to for years. And then the other thing you can use while baking is if you're trying to get some sweet stuff is use dates. And if you're keeping it simple, one of the best things you can do, and don't tell anybody in your house because they'll just eat them all, is take a date, cut it in half, take a scoop of that peanut butter, put it in the date, put it in the fridge for like 30 minutes. Such a good snack.
You and I both agree that going vegan or starting to eat more plant-based, it's not an all or nothing. You have to give up oil right this second or it doesn't count. Not at all. We're talking about realistic changes that you can incorporate.
I don't want anything to feel restrictive because I think people just, and kids especially, because as probably you guys know, I've got 2 little kids. The minute you say you can't have something, that's all they want. So we try to be really, really clear with why we are eating certain things, and we don't really focus on what we don't eat. So there's never this idea of like, I can't have something. It's like a long-standing joke in my family that I have a obscene amount of energy. I do like to think that I have fueled my body with super good foods to just allow me to have a really energetic day.
I was lucky enough to have a home-cooked Robin meal earlier this fall when I did an unexpected road trip, and I was driving over 40 hours in 4 days and I was exhausted. You fed my mom and me some broccoli cheddar soup and a salad with your ranch dressing. I'll link that up here. And I remember telling you, like, I felt like I could go run a half marathon that night. And that was after being sleep
Yeah.
deprived for I don't know how long.
You are eating foods that are not only good for you, they're good for the planet, and they're good for animals, that it's just this trifecta of wellness that is a part of you.
If you're trying to make these changes, give yourself a pat on the back for even watching this video, for even considering whole food plant-based for your energy, and you will get there. Sometimes progress looks like that squiggly line, but just by watching this video and thinking about it, you're already moving forward, and you should be really proud of yourself.